Welcome everyone, video lesson number 9, converting measurements using rates. Today's question of the day says, in what ways can we use rates to convert measurements? Before we get started on the launch activity, let me just please tell you to have out the conversion rates reference sheet. On the top right, it says number 19, so it's sheet number 19. We're going to be using that throughout the entire lesson. So go ahead and have that out. So the launch activity says, identify the rates that are associated with conversions between feet, inches, and yards. Here we go. 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. The rate of inches per feet is, so when we write the rate as a fraction, 12 inches will be on the numerator and 1 foot will be the denominator. 1 foot, the other way around, equals 12 inches. That means the rate of feet per inch is 1 foot as the numerator and 12 inches as the denominator. Continuing, we're going to convert feet to yards here. So 3 feet is equal to 1 yard. So the rate of feet per yard is 3 feet as the numerator and 1 yard as the denominator. Last one, 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. The rate of yards per feet, 1 yard will be the numerator and 3 feet will be the denominator. Just recognize the differences between the rates here. Essentially all we do is we have the first 2 fractions flipped and then the last 2 fractions flipped. And the only reason why we have that is based on the words of inches per feet and feet per inch. And then feet per yards, and then yards per feet. That's why they are flipped. So let's move down to example number 1. It says, how many feet are in 72 inches? We have the information of 72 inches. We want to get feet. So if we have 72 inches, and I would like to write the labels, and I'll show you why, I can put that over 1. Now, we need to use a rate to convert these measurements. Now, if I want to get rid of my label of inches, I have to use a rate of 1 foot all over 12 inches. And I'll show you why. When you have a factor in the numerator and a factor in the denominator, we know that we can cross out those factors. That's how you simplify fractions. You can truly do the same exact thing using labels. I see inches in the numerator and inches in the denominator. What's the only label we have left? We're left with just feet. So in this case, we're left with 72 all over 12 feet. Now, of course, we don't say that it's 72 over 12 feet. We actually have to divide. 72 divided by 12 is 6 feet. Essentially what we did is, since we started with inches and we moved to a bigger unit, in this case, we just divided 72 by 12. Example number 2 says, how many inches are in 8 feet? So in this case, we have 8 feet, which is a bigger unit, and we want to convert it to inches, which is a smaller unit. Now, it's going to be a little different than example 1, and I think that you'll see the relationship between them. So let's start off with what we know. We know 8 feet. And we can just put that over 1. And we need to convert that to inches. So in order to do that, we have to get rid of the label of feet. We already have 8 feet. We need to get rid of that by saying that 1 foot is equivalent to 12 inches. Okay, and look what happens here. I see the label of feet in the top and the foot label down below. The only label we are left with in this case is inches. And in this case, all we have to do is multiply 8 times 12, which is 96 inches. So, since we started with a bigger unit of feet and converted it to a smaller unit of inches, in this case, we multiplied 8 times 12 to get us 96 inches. So you can see in example number 1, when you have a smaller unit and you're converting it to a larger unit, you're going to divide. But when you have a larger unit like feet and want to convert it to inches, a smaller unit, we're going to multiply. So let's go ahead and move down to example number 3. It says, how many inches are in 6 yards? So the only problem here is I do not know how many inches are in 1 yard. But let's just kind of go about this one more time. We have 6 yards here. We want to eventually get to inches. So we have a bigger unit, which is yards, and we're moving to a smaller unit of inches. So chances are we're probably going to be multiplying like we did in example number 2. So I know 6 yards, I can put that all over 1. I do know using my reference sheet that 3 feet is equivalent to 1 yard. What does that do for me? I can use this information because I see a yards in the numerator and a yards in the denominator. I can cross off those labels. So right now, I know that in 6 yards, there are 18 feet. But that doesn't answer our question. We want to figure out how many inches. So what I can do is I can use the rate of 1 foot as the denominator and 12 inches in the numerator. I set it up like this one more time because I see that I have a foot in the numerator and a foot in the denominator. The only label we are left with are our inches. So in this case, we have to multiply 6 times 3 times 12. So I just showed my work to the right. When I do 6 times 3 times 12, I end up getting 216 inches. That tells me that there are 216 inches in 6 yards. Again, just recognize, since we started with a bigger unit and we wanted to move to smaller units, essentially all we did was we multiplied 6 times 3 times 12. Let's go ahead and move to our last example. It says, how many quarts are in 28 cups? Converting cups to quarts, cups is a smaller unit compared to quarts. So we are going to get an answer of less than 28. That means we are probably going to divide. We have the information of 28 cups. The problem happens when you look at the reference sheet and you do not know how many cups are in a quart. What I can do is I can convert cups to pints. I know that 1 pint is equal to 2 cups. And I set this rate up specifically so that pints are on top and cups are in the denominator so that I can cross off my labels of cups and cups. I do know that 28 cups is now equivalent to 28 divided by 2 pints, which is 14. That doesn't get us to our answer just yet. Using the reference table, I see another rate that we may be able to use, and it's converting pints to quarts. I can see that 2 pints in the denominator is equivalent to 1 quart, QT. And the reason why I set it up like that is I see a pint in the numerator, a pint in the denominator. So there it is. I think we set up our problem in a way that shows division, because looking at the numerator, 28 times 1 is just 28. Multiply the denominators together, 1 times 2 times 2, that's 4. Look at the only label we have left, quarts, QT. So we know that 28 cups is equivalent to 28 divided by 4 quarts. Of course, that's not our answer here. We have to divide 28 by 4, and that will give us 7 quarts. So there are 7 quarts in 28 cups. That does it for video lesson number 9, converting measurements using rates. I would say the big points to take a look at is how we set up the rates the way we do. In this case, why is pints on top and cups down below? Well, the answer is so that we can cross off labels. Why is a quart on the numerator in this case and pints are down below? So that we can cross off the labels here. And also recognize that when you have a smaller unit like cups converting to a larger unit of quarts, you're really just dividing. But when we have a larger unit like yards converting to inches, a smaller unit, all we do is we multiply. That does it. Thank you very much. Have a great day.